Haber is my guest, and Mel Haber is the owner of Mel Haber's Ingleside Inn, and then Melvin's. And Melvin's is part of the Ingleside Inn. And your history goes way back. You've had the inn for how long?
20 years now. Celebrating my 20-year anniversary.
Great. So a lot of things have happened in 20 years, am I right?
Oh, I've had a great run in 20 years. It's unbelievable. I've really had a run.
And give a little bit of a background. It started out as a little inn and then evolved?
Well, originally it was built as a private estate in 1925 by Mr. and Mrs. Humphrey Burge, and they were from the Pierce Arrow Motor Car Company. 1935 it was bought by a woman from Indiana by the name of Ruth Hardy, who turned it into a hotel. Ruth Hardy, over the next 30 years, she passed away in 65, she managed to invite the who's who of the world to come to her little hotel. She had everybody from Howard Hughes to Herbert Hoover to Norman Vincent Peale, Lily Pons, on and on and on. I mean, the guest list was endless. Mm-hmm. She passed away in 1965. She was a council lady in the city of Palm Springs. They've named a park after her. There's a Ruth Hardy Park.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and she was quite a famous lady in town. When she passed away in 65, a guest of the inn who wanted to keep up the tradition from San Francisco bought it. But he ran it in absentia for the next 10 years, and the place fell into a total state of dereliction. I came along in 75, and I bought it, and opened a restaurant called Melvin's there. And
now, up until that point, there was no restaurant. It was just an inn.
It was, yeah, except there was a restaurant that catered only to the 20 hotel rooms.
To the people there.
It was called Orville's, which was the name of the chef, and it was a big deal for you to be invited to dine there, because only the people staying there were able to dine there. There was no liquor license. They brought their own bottle. There was a little piece of tape put on with your name on it, and you drank out of your bottle. And it was really the who's who of the world. I don't know what her strength was or how she got them to come there, but she catered to the...
Gave you the feeling of there's a small hotel, right? That sounds great. Okay.
Very exclusive and very special. And I bought it in 75, not knowing what I was doing, but put that aside. Not that I do now. I don't know now, and it's 20 years later.
That's what I heard. Well, no, but let's go back before you bought it. What did you do before you bought it?
I ran an automotive novelty factory in Coney Island, Brooklyn, for somebody else. We manufactured the hula dolls in the back of the car, the dice that hung from the mirror, the religious statues. You knew somewhere there was a maniac that did that, right?
Are you serious?
I made 700 items that you could drive a car for 50 years, never have one of, and not miss. That's what we made, stuff that didn't do a thing. We called them mirror muffs, little pieces of white fur went around a mirror.
I remember all that.
All the decals, all
back
that
in the 50s.
When I came to California in 1974, actually I was coming out of a divorce and wanted to run away from my guilt, so to speak, if you will. Came out to California and didn't have a whole lot of money. But when I saw the Ingleside Inn, it was 2 acres in the middle of downtown Palm Springs. I thought it was charming, although derelict. And I thought it was quite an investment. And in 1975, the real estate market was in a total depression.
Absolutely.
You could buy, I mean, anything you bought in 1975, you would make money with. And I sort of backed into running the Ingleside Inn in Melvin's. And I decided to take a shot at running a hotel and restaurant, although I had no interest in a hotel and restaurant and certainly had no experience. And I thought it'd be interesting to try. And also, in those days, and I think it's true today, you don't need a whole lot of money to live in the desert. And I had a little condominium.
Yeah, it's true today. It's true.
It is. Yeah, it's inexpensive to live down here. And I thought if I could just grind out a living to live in what I call paradise with the sun every day and the beautiful views, that's what I wanted to do.
That was in the days when all the celebrities used to come out at night, right?
But when I came in 1975 was the tail end of the, quote, little village with all the celebrities, etc. And there was no down valley at that time. There was nothing down here.
Nothing beyond Palm Springs.
Exactly. It was all in Palm Springs. And it's still got all the celebrities and the who's who of the world. It was a marvelous little place.
Now, Mel, let's get back to you and Melvin's.
Okay.
You added it on before you opened it, or you added Melvin's
No, just when I started to operate the Ingleside Inn, I created a restaurant. And somebody said, in looking for a name, somebody said, you have to have an identity. You should call it your own name. And I said, but that's egocentric to call it after your own name. And he said, well, why don't you call it Melvin? Because nobody's ever called you Melvin. Everybody's always called you Mel, including your mother. And that's how the restaurant name came about. But I opened Melvin's at the same time that I started operating the Ingleside in 1975. You know, June, little places, people who love little intimate places, love little intimate places. They will tell you about the big plastic hotels, and they wouldn't go there if their life depends on it.
Exactly.
There's a certain intrinsic charm and ambiance about a place that was built 70 years ago that can't be duplicated today. So the Ingleside Inn happens to be a very special place. No two rooms are alike. We have 29 rooms today. We cater to a lot of groups, a lot of affluent people, and it's a lovely little property.
People do want that. They do want the feel of community, people knowing one another. They know your name. When the people walk in, you know who they are.
A customer said to me last week, that there's only so many ways you can prepare food. Once you get beyond that, it has to do with the personality of the people who serve you, the whole atmosphere of the place. Oh, we've had everybody. In the recent film festival at Melvin's, Tony Curtis dined with us 2 nights. We had Ann Jeffries was in, and Donald O'Connor, and you know, you get a lot of them. You're talking to a guy who incidentally had never met a celebrity or VIP in his life till he came to Palm Springs, and I met him so many so fast that I can't remember half of them.
Now, I know how I reacted when I saw my first celebrity and when I saw celebrities. How did you feel?
I was standoffish. You know, I was in awe of them. There's one man who lives in town, who of course is the most famous man in town, who's the only man I'm truly in awe of, and that is Frank Sinatra. And we were honored to have Frank Sinatra's pre-wedding dinner at Melvin's the night before he got married at the Annenberg estate, which was on a Sunday, and we had the dinner on a Saturday night. And I mean, I was a nervous wreck. My hands were shaking. There was Gregory Peck, and there was Ambassador Annenberg, and it was on and on and on. But you know, I've had my share, more than my share of celebrities. I've been very lucky, I must tell you. Palm Springs has been wonderful to me.
This is the place to come.
I think the desert is heaven on earth. I can't think of any better place to live, or I'd be living there.